November 15th, 2022, 10:04 a.m. Eastern Time. 14 million Taylor Swift fans sit at their computers ready for the pre-sale of the century. They've been verified. They've registered. They've done everything Ticketmaster asked. Ticketmaster promised this new system would keep out bots and scalpers. Fans only, fair access, a smooth experience. What actually happened? It ended in complete and total chaos. The website couldn't handle the traffic. Bots got through anyway. Tickets sold out in minutes. And fans who did everything right got nothing. This is the story of how Ticketmaster's monopoly failed the biggest artist in the world, and why the Department of Justice finally decided to do something about it. Welcome to the Breakdown Economy. I'm Tony, and today we're talking about the disaster that finally made Congress care about Ticketmaster's monopoly. Let's start with the context. Ticketmaster merged with Live Nation in 2010, creating a behemoth that controls about 70% of the primary ticketing market and roughly 80% of major concert venues. Think about that. They sell the tickets and own the venues. It's like if Amazon sold you products, owned all the delivery trucks, and owned the roads. And when you have a monopoly, you don't really need to innovate. You don't need to build systems that actually work. Because where else are people going to go? If you want to see a major concert in America, you're going through Ticketmaster. Period. November 1st, 2022. Taylor Swift announces the Eras Tour, her first tour in 5 years. 52 dates, over 20 songs per show spanning her entire career. Swifties, Taylor Swift's famously devoted fan base, immediately start preparing. This is the concert event of the decade, and Ticketmaster knows this is going to be massive. So, they implement their verified fan system. Here's how it's supposed to work. Fans register in advance. Ticketmaster verifies you're a real person, not a bot. You get a unique code. Only verified fans can access the pre-sale. The promise? Bots and scalpers get filtered out. Real fans get fair access. Everyone who registers and gets verified has a chance. The reality? A complete disaster. Millions of fans register. On November 14th, the day before the pre-sale, Ticketmaster sends out access codes to 1.5 million verified fans. But here's the first problem. Ticketmaster had 2 million tickets available across all tour dates, and they invited 1.5 million people to the pre-sale. Do the math. Even if the system worked perfectly, which it absolutely did not, there weren't enough tickets for everyone. They invited 1.5 million people to compete for 2 million tickets, knowing that people buy multiple tickets, knowing that resellers would find ways in. They set up a system designed to fail. And here's the thing. Ticketmaster had done verified fan presales before, for Bruce Springsteen, for Harry Styles. This wasn't new technology, but those were smaller. Those were manageable. Taylor Swift was different. Fans did everything they were supposed to do. They registered weeks in advance. They boosted their chances by engaging with Taylor Swift content, buying merchandise, streaming her music, all things Ticketmaster's algorithm allegedly considered. Some fans spent hours optimizing their registration to increase their odds of getting a presale code. It was like college admissions, but for concert tickets. And millions got verified codes. They got ready. They cleared their schedules. They prepared to buy tickets at 10 a.m. on November 15th. What they weren't prepared for was Ticketmaster's complete incompetence. ASI 2, The Collapse, November 15th, 2022. 10 a.m., the Capital One presale goes live. Immediately problems start. Fans enter their verified codes and get thrown into virtual waiting rooms. Queue positions like 2,000 plus people ahead of you. Wait times showing more than an hour. But it gets worse. The queue numbers aren't moving. People refresh and get kicked to the back of the line. Error messages everywhere. High demand. Please try again. Session timed out. And here's where it becomes clear this isn't just high demand, the system is fundamentally broken. People with verified codes can't get through. But somehow, tickets are selling. Fast. Within 30 minutes, multiple shows are sold out, but millions of verified fans are still sitting in queues that aren't moving. So where did the tickets go? The Ticketmaster website starts completely crashing. Not just slow, down. People can't even load the page. Those who do get through to the ticket selection screen face another nightmare. They select seats, add to cart, and when they try to check out, error. Tickets gone. But those same tickets immediately show up on resale sites. StubHub, Vivid Seats, even Ticketmaster's own resale platform for 5x, 10x, even 20x face value. $49 tickets selling for $900, 199 tickets going for $20,500, floor seats listed for $20,000 and up. So, the bots got through. The verified fan system, the entire point of which was to stop bots, completely failed. And here's what makes this infuriating. This isn't theoretical. We're not guessing that bots got through. Within hours of tickets going on sale, resale sites were flooded with inventory. Professional scalpers were listing hundreds of tickets, sometimes thousands, all purchased during a pre-sale that was supposed to be verified fans only. Later, Ticketmaster revealed they received 3.5 billion system requests during the pre-sale. That's 4 times their previous peak traffic. Their systems couldn't handle it. But here's my question. You knew this was Taylor Swift. You knew you had 14 million fans registered. You knew this was going to be unprecedented demand. Why wasn't your infrastructure ready? Because monopolies don't have to be ready. When you control 70% of the market, you don't need to invest in systems that work. You want to see Taylor Swift? You go through Ticketmaster. Period. There is no alternative. November 17th, 2 days after the pre-sale disaster, Ticketmaster cancels the public general sale entirely. Due to extraordinarily high demands on ticketing systems and insufficient remaining ticket inventory to meet that demand, tomorrow's public on-sale for Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, has been canceled. Translation: we completely failed at the pre-sale, sold all the tickets to bots and scalpers anyway, and we're not even going to try a general sale because we know it'll be even worse. Millions of fans who did everything right, registered, got verified, waited patiently, got nothing. While scalpers made millions. And Ticketmaster? They still collected fees on every transaction, including the resales. The fallout from this disaster was massive, and it went way beyond disappointed fans. Let's start with the human cost. These weren't just casual concert goers, these were people who'd been fans for years, decades in some cases, people who'd never seen Taylor Swift live, parents trying to take their kids, friends planning road trips, people who'd saved money for months, and they got crushed by a system that was supposed to protect them. Some people spent 8 hours in queues that never moved. Others got through, selected tickets, and had them ripped from their cart at checkout. One fan told the story of refreshing for 6 hours straight, getting tickets in her cart 3 separate times, and losing them all at checkout. Every single time. The verified fan system was supposed to reward real fans. Instead, it gave them false hope and crushed them with technical failure. Then there's the economic impact. The secondary market exploded. Analysts estimated that tickets with about $20 billion in face value ended up on secondary markets. StubHub, Vivid Seats, SeatGeek, all dominated by professional resellers who got through Ticketmaster's verified system. And here's the kicker. Ticketmaster owns their own resale platform. They make money on the primary sale and on the resale. They profit from the bots and scalpers they claim to be fighting. Think about that business model. They have every incentive to let scalpers through. More transactions equals more fees. When tickets get resold at 10x face value on their platform, they collect fees on both sales. The initial sale and the resale. So while fans are devastated and Taylor Swift is furious, Ticketmaster is making money hand over fist. The disaster was so catastrophic that it triggered Senate hearings. Let me say that again. A botched concert ticket sale was so bad, it got the United States Senate to hold hearings on live entertainment monopolies. January 24th, 2023, Ticketmaster's parent company Live Nation gets called before the Senate Judiciary Committee. The hearing title? That's the ticket, promoting competition and protecting consumers in live entertainment. Senators from both parties grilled Ticketmaster executives. Amy Klobuchar, Richard Blumenthal, Mike Lee. Bipartisan outrage. You know you messed up when you get bipartisan agreement in Congress. Senator Klobuchar pointed out that Ticketmaster had promised, back in 2010 when they merged with Live Nation, that the merger would improve customer experience and prevent exactly this kind of disaster. 13 years later, the system can't handle Taylor Swift fans. Even Taylor Swift spoke out, saying it was excruciating to watch fans who'd been trying for hours have such a terrible experience. And that's unusual. Artists typically don't criticize Ticketmaster publicly because Ticketmaster controls access to venues. If you want a tour, you need them. But this was so bad, even Taylor Swift, who depends on touring, felt compelled to say something. May 2023. The Department of Justice and 30 state attorneys general file an antitrust lawsuit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster. The lawsuit alleges that Live Nation Ticketmaster has monopolized the live events industry through exclusive venue contracts that lock out competitors, anti-competitive bundling of ticketing and venue services, acquiring potential competitors to maintain monopoly power, retaliating against venues that use competing ticketing platforms. The Taylor Swift disaster was the catalyst, but the monopoly had been building for over a decade. All right, let's talk about what this catastrophe teaches us, because this is about more than just concert tickets. Lesson 1. Monopolies don't innovate. When you control 70% of the market, you don't need to build better systems. You don't need to invest in infrastructure. You don't need to care about customer experience, because where else are people going to go? Ticketmaster's infrastructure clearly wasn't ready for the Eras Tour. They knew the demand. They knew they had 14 million registered fans. And they didn't scale their systems. Why? Because they didn't have to. In a competitive market, this kind of failure would send customers to competitors. But when you're a monopoly, customers have no choice. You want to see Taylor Swift? You go through Ticketmaster. Period. And because there's no competition, there's no pressure to improve. No pressure to invest in better infrastructure. No pressure to actually serve customers well. Look at what happens in actually competitive markets. When Amazon Web Services has an outage, customers can move to Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud. That competitive pressure forces investment in reliability. Ticketmaster doesn't have that pressure. So they don't make that investment. Lesson 2. Verification. Systems can be security theater. The verified fan system was marketed as the solution to bots and scalpers. Register in advance. Get verified. Fair access for real fans. It failed spectacularly. Bots still got through. Professional scalpers still got massive quantities of tickets. The secondary market still exploded to 20 billion. You know what verification actually did? It gave Ticketmaster a database of 14 million Taylor Swift fans for marketing purposes. Email addresses, phone numbers, payment information, purchasing preferences, demographics. The system that was supposed to protect fans mostly just harvested their data. And think about the incentives here. Ticketmaster makes money on resales. They own the secondary market platform. If the verified fan system actually worked, if it kept scalpers out and tickets went to real fans at face value, Ticketmaster would make less money. They make more when tickets flow to the secondary market, where they can collect fees twice. I'm not saying they deliberately sabotaged the system, but I am saying the financial incentives are completely backwards. Lesson 3. Infrastructure capacity isn't optional. Ticketmaster received 3.5 billion system requests, 4 times their previous peak. And their response, essentially, well, we didn't expect that much traffic. You didn't expect Taylor Swift fans to show up for Taylor Swift tickets? Are you kidding me? We live in an era of cloud computing, with elastic scaling and bandwidth on demand, systems that expand to meet any situation. Amazon handles Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Netflix handles Stranger Things premieres. Fortnite handles 80 million concurrent players. Comcast handles the Olympics. The technology exists to handle massive traffic spikes. Ticketmaster just chose not to invest in it, because monopolies don't have to. And here's what really bothers me about this. They had weeks of advance notice. They knew exactly when the presale would happen. They knew approximately how many people would try to buy tickets. This wasn't a surprise. This was predictable. And they still weren't ready. Lesson 4. Regulatory capture has real consequences. The 2010 Live Nation Ticketmaster merger was approved by the Department of Justice with conditions designed to prevent exactly this kind of monopolistic behavior. Those conditions clearly didn't work. For over a decade, Ticketmaster consolidated power while regulators looked the other way. It took a Taylor Swift disaster in Senate hearings to finally trigger enforcement action. And here's what bothers me. This shouldn't have required Taylor Swift. Ticketmaster has been abusing their monopoly position for years. Excessive fees, sometimes fees that double the ticket price. Terrible customer service, anti-competitive practices. But it took the biggest artist in the world getting screwed over for anyone to care. Look at this. A $50 ticket becomes $85 after fees. That's a 70% markup. For what? For the privilege of using a website that crashes during high demand? And fans have no choice but to pay because there's no alternative. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The Ticketmaster disaster revealed how fragile our live entertainment infrastructure actually is. One company controls ticketing for most major venues. One company owns those venues. One company determines fees, access, and experience. And when that one company fails, millions of people lose access to live events. The good news? The disaster forced a conversation about alternatives. Some artists started experimenting with direct-to-fan sales. Platforms like Dice and AXS tried to position themselves as alternatives. Venues explored breaking exclusive Ticketmaster contracts. But here's the problem with monopolies. They're really hard to break. Most major venues have long-term exclusive contracts with Ticketmaster. If you want to play Madison Square Garden, Ticketmaster. The Forum in LA, Ticketmaster. United Center in Chicago, Ticketmaster. Artists don't have much choice either. You want to tour major venues? You're going through Ticketmaster. And here's how they maintain the monopoly. Those exclusive contracts often include clauses that penalize venues if they use competing ticketing services for any events. So even if a venue wants to try an alternative for smaller shows, they can't without risking their Ticketmaster relationship for major tours. It's a system designed to eliminate competition. The Department of Justice opened a lawsuit that was settled in March 2026. They were seeking to break up Live Nation and Ticketmaster. In the final agreement, Ticketmaster does not have to be sold, but Live Nation must change certain business practices, fee caps, limits on exclusive contracts, and more access for competing ticket platforms. And the company will have to pay hundreds of millions in damages to the states. However, several states are continuing legal action that could still challenge the company's market dominance. It just shouldn't have taken Taylor Swift to make it happen. The problems with Ticketmaster were obvious long before the Eras Tour. Fans have been complaining for years. Artists have been frustrated for years. But nothing changed until it became a political problem Congress couldn't ignore. So what can you actually do about this? 1. Support alternative ticketing platforms when available. Dice, AXS, SeatGeek. If artists offer tickets through other platforms, use them. Vote with your wallet. Show there's demand for alternatives. 2. Buy directly from artists when possible. Many artists are experimenting with direct-to-fan sales, pre-sales through their websites, and fan club exclusives. These cut out the Ticketmaster middleman entirely. 3. Avoid the secondary market when you can. I know sometimes it's your only option, but every resale transaction incentivizes more bot activity. And if you do buy resale, know that Ticketmaster is profiting from that too. And 4. Remember that this isn't just about concert tickets. This is about what happens when we allow monopolies to control critical infrastructure in any industry. Healthcare, telecommunications, social media, technology. We keep consolidating industries until 1 or 2 companies control everything. And then we act surprised when those companies fail us. The Taylor Swift Eras Tour went on to become the highest grossing tour of all time, over $2 billion in revenue. Taylor Swift became a billionaire, but millions of fans who wanted to be there couldn't get tickets, not because they didn't try, not because they didn't have the money, because a monopoly built a system designed to extract maximum profit, not to serve fans. Live music should be accessible. Ticket systems should work. Verified fans should actually get tickets. But none of that happens when one company controls the entire ecosystem and has no incentive to do better. That's it for this episode of The Breakdown Economy. If this made you angry about monopolies in entertainment, or any industry, and you found this topic interesting, hit that subscribe button. Next week, we're covering the Southwest Airlines Christmas meltdown, when an airline canceled 16,700 flights because they refused to upgrade software from 1990. I'm Tony. Support alternative platforms. Demand better from monopolies. And remember, in the breakdown economy, when there's no competition, there's no accountability. See you next Thursday.